Shalom Aleichem, and welcome to this week's new installation of a Bisselle Torah, a little Torah. We begin the book of Exodus, called in Hebrew Shmot, this week. We've completed the book of Genesis, and now we segue into what happens in the aftermath of Joseph, who saved Egypt from immense starvation and degradation. What happens after he's no longer on the scene? The Pharaoh, who may be a new Pharaoh or the old Pharaoh that has chosen to forget everything that Joseph did to save his nation, proceeds now to enslave the people who are the descendants of Joseph. He puts them in chains and assigns them miserable tasks. We've seen this many times throughout history. This is not unique, but this is certainly the first recorded time of such a terrible atrocity being committed. And when Pharaoh is not satisfied with the fact that the Jews are being afflicted, and they're not dying like flies as he had hoped that they would under the lash of their taskmasters, he then enlists the support of two women, nameless individuals they were beforehand, but afterwards their names are ensconced in perpetuity. We'll never forget Shifra and Puah. He calls these two women and he says, what I want you to do is when you see a baby boy is born to one of these Hebrews, take the baby immediately from the mother and throw him into the river. Let them drown. This was his way of committing not only infanticide, but genocide. All the girls he would allow to live. Shifra and Puah, hearing the dictates of Pharaoh, decided that they would walk slowly when a woman was giving birth. Whether that is true or whether that's simply the story that they fed to Pharaoh, no one can say, but that's certainly what they told him. They said, when we got to the midwives who were delivering the babies, the babies came so quickly that we had no choice, no ability to be able to take those children away from their mothers and steal them away and drown them in the river. Now I want you to think of that in the context of what happened just a little bit more than a half a century ago, where good people, so-called good people, followed diligently the orders that came down from above, and that was their excuse for committing genocide, for murder, for wholesale slaughter. I was following orders. But here are these two outstanding women that refused to do what they were told to do, knowing full well that their necks were on the line. And then we find out in the very next segment that God says, I reward them. Vayitav Elohim. And God saw that they were good, and he rewarded them by making them strong. Strong? Rashi asks, strong, really? That's a reward for facing down a ruthless tyrant, risking their own lives? God made them strong? They already were strong. Why not make them rich? Why not give them such independent wealth that they never have to worry about anything again? Why not fate and laud them as paragons of virtue? Why not give them exactly what their hearts desired? And Rashi comments, after posing that question, the reward of a mitzvah is a mitzvah. That when we do well, God gives us the opportunity to carry that out by doing further good. An opportunity to go beyond the parameters of what we thought was possible and exceed ourselves. God gave them exactly what they needed, and God gives us exactly what we need as well. It may not be what we want, and may not be the winning ticket for the lottery. It may not be the fact that we have suddenly received a large inheritance from a relative that we didn't even know whether we had. Maybe the reward comes with the opportunity to stop by somebody who is needy and give to them. That's a gift from God. A gift from God to do an opportune moment, to do a mitzvah that will allow our psyche and our soul to soar, to be able to transcend the boundaries of its own self. Mitzvah, go Revit, mitzvah. Rashi says, this is the reward. The reward is ultimately that God gives us another opportunity to exceed ourselves. What greater gift is there than that? I wish you Shabbat Shalom and many opportunities. to be personal witness to this truth.